I'm here.
You're here. Hi.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to whatever the heck this is. I'm 500% Fandom actor. At least in theory.
Yes.
Hello, I'm here.
Welcome. Hello to everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about what Star Trek. I've been texting you guys. Star Trek Section 31. Some of What If, which I've seen one of. I have not gotten time to finish that. And
So I think Jamie should disappear, and we'll just talk about What If because.
Well, no, we got to talk about Star Trek too. And
yeah,
also, I'd like to talk about Paradise. I don't know if you guys actually watched any. I don't know if you got my text messages. I was trying to text you guys, and it didn't seem like they were going through. So I don't know, but I think you guys would like that if you.
Yeah, it's weird. From what I saw, it looks like it's when I Googled it, it said it starts tonight, but they're all three episodes are already up. Apparently,
yeah, the first three. Yeah, they released it early.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. I was planning to watch it when it came out this week, and
great marketing department.
Yeah.
Well, no, it came out today officially, but they, like I said, they released it early. So,
all right, well,
but that's okay. We can talk a little bit about it without. I'll do it without spoiling it, in case people wanna watch it. But do you want to do Star Trek first?
whatever you guys want to do, yeah.
All right, sounds like a plan. I'm just trying to tweet everyone that we're doing this, and it's not listening to me at the moment. There we go. All right. Well, I was going to say, I know you guys, I think, felt differently maybe because you are Star Trek fans. I'm not really a Star Trek person, so I didn't understand any of the Star Trek references or anything. I mean, for a movie, it was okay. It was funny. I mean, I assume it was supposed to be funny. I hope. I mean, it wasn't the best movie, but I didn't dislike it, I guess, would be my main thing to say. But you guys sounded like you very much disliked it.
I haven't said anything about it yet.
No, I mean, from what you guys have said before.
Okay, I did not think that this movie lived up to what I hoped it would be. Let's put it that way. I had a lot of I love Philippa, the character from Discovery, where we saw her, develop over a couple seasons. And I think they really didn't make good use of Michelle Yeoh. And I thought the script really was not great. Now, to be fair, everybody who saw this movie knows that the original plan, it was Michelle Yeoh's idea to do a spin-off series starring Giorgio. It gets delayed by the writer's strike. Then she wins an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then her dance card became very, very full. And with all of this going on, they decided, let's just cut it down to a movie and do a movie instead of a full season. So I understand when things like that happen and that I couldn't get a whole series, but I just really, I think Star Trek fans, we've been waiting to learn more about Section 31, and it did not, AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the series, the several series that it's been mentioned in, it felt much more sinister, maybe a little James Bondy, more like highly skilled. And then I got a comedy about like a group of kind of outcasts bumbling their way through a mission is what I felt like. This was not the Section 31 I've been waiting to see.
Yeah, it felt like a pilot.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, it left it open for more, right?
Yeah, which I hope I get more, because I feel like it was fun and it was quirky. There were some good fight scenes, but I feel like, and I did like learning more about Giorgio and her past, and how she became Empress and everything. I thought that was really interesting. It's funny though. It's like I almost feel like they tried to humanize her, and at the same time, I think they made it worse. She's, we know that the emperor was a really, as the emperor, she was a really bad person. But we kind of get to like her as she comes to the Prime universe. But seeing her backstory, I kind of feel like now that we're seeing how bad she was, it makes you like her less. Like it's actually funny because you should like her less, but you really don't. So I thought it was an interesting way to do things. But like I said, it was fun. It was quirky. I do hope that they revisit it and maybe actually make it into a series, because I think it would have benefited better from being a series. This was just like a movie mission type thing.
It was like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I feel, and I gotta say, I feel like I didn't feel the supporting cast was very strong. That was probably my biggest gripe. He was good, but I didn't like him. The whole alien and the Vulcan robot, he was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was terrible.
He was
I like awesome.
I like the story. The backstory with him, that was good. That was, she got better.
She got better.
She was very.
See her when she was in Enterprise. She was an older version in Enterprise, which is a series that comes before this, right?
Huh?
Wasn't her character from Enterprise?
No, not that I'm aware of.
No. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong character. And then and then there was where'd they go? These two were not good.
Well, she didn't last long.
No,
she was underused and didn't live long.
Did you? Maybe it's just, I guess, because I don't really know Star Trek, and I'm assuming this is maybe how you felt and probably why it wasn't good for Star Trek fans. Is it didn't, to me, even feel like Star Trek, and I don't really, like I said, I don't really know Star Trek, but it felt like a movie in space, but it didn't, I don't know, to me, like it didn't have things in that made me think of Star Trek as somebody who doesn't know it. Is it just because I don't know enough Star Trek? Did it feel like that to you?
No, actually, that was the thing I saw online. The biggest complaint of Star Trek fans was it didn't feel like Star Trek.
I mean, it could have been, I don't want to say, I was going to say it could have even been Star Wars or something. I wouldn't have known the difference. I mean, like I said, I thought it was funny, but it wasn't what I expected it to be at all. I mean, I really like Michelle Yeoh, however you say her name, Yeoh. But yeah, I don't know. And that was my other question to you guys. You said she was from a different Star Trek. Was she a villain in the other Star Treks, or was she
originally?
Okay. So,
Jamie, in the original Star Trek Discovery, she is a really great captain of Mike. What's Michael's last name?
Burnham.
Michael Burnham, the character played by Sonequa Martin Green. When she's a young officer coming up, Philippa is her captain and is a really awesome mentor to her. She gets killed. Burnham gets sent into a mirror universe where there is no Federation. And instead, there's this awful thing called the Terran Empire, which mirror universe version of Giorgio is the terrible, awful Empress who does all this terrible shit and tortures and kills a bunch of people. And she tortures Jason Isaacs. So you would hate her.
Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah, but Jason Isaacs deserved it.
So she was good in our universe, though.
Yes, but she gets killed in our universe. In the mirror universe, she's a horrible person. And then, short story short, she gets blooped over into our main universe, where she ends up working with the Federation, because it's sort of like my enemy's enemy is my friend kind of business. Yeah. Like, they're like, she's a horrible person, but we got to work with her. And she's like, oh, I blooped into a different universe. And then they accidentally bloop 900 years in the future. And she's like, oh, I guess I have to deal with these people. And so she tones it down a bit. And they're like, okay, you're a terrible person. You're just the kind we need in Section 31, which is a secret dark ops part of the Federation that nobody knows about, is supposed to know about. Okay. And they do things like assassinate people for the greater good kind of thing. And they're like, oh, you're perfect. You've assassinated a million people.
You know what's funny is Section 31 is a dark ops, but a lot of people seem to know about it.
A lot of people like it's a secret, nobody knows about it, but they totally know.
But everybody knows about it.
She was really a very excellent, terrible person who sort of like found.
She's a very good character.
But she was, but I mean, like she worked with them in the other series. That was kind of my question, because what I was going to say is sometimes I think what causes an issue, and I feel like I sort of felt it a little bit in this one, like she was a really good character and she was somebody that you wanted to like or like hate, like however you want to say it. Yeah. But she was so bad, like it was hard to. They made her, I think, like a little too evil to make her be able to be redeemed enough.
Yeah. And if you
it's hard to kind of believe that she could be working with them and not killing them, which I mean, I guess is the point. But it's like, I think a lot of shows, though, you have to find that balance. It's kind of like something like Dexter. He's quote unquote the bad guy, but like you like him, you know? I don't know. And I wanted to like her, but after knowing how evil she was, it was a little hard. I don't know.
And that was kind of my point. I feel like they did, you know.
Well, they gave her two evil
but I'm glad, Jamie, that you were able to feel that from what you saw without watching all of Discovery, because like we bring that all in knowing how horrible she is. You don't, and yet they really. So I got to give them credit that they conveyed that to you. That you were like, she's a horrible person. I don't know how I can like. I feel for her, but yeah, you can't, and that's kind of why they like sent her off to the edge of the universe to be in Section 31, because they can't really trust her or control her, and they put her in this like dark ops division where she's sort of like can be useful and out of sight, and like only a few people can try to control her. I really liked the backstory, except for the part that where she seems to be this really nice girl, and then she like flips a switch one day and kills her parents. Like I could see her snowing her boyfriend, like it was sort of like a Survivor kind of thing that she was playing this guy that she was in love with him.
Hunger Games, actually.
I was just gonna say Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah, like Hunger Games if you also murdered your parents.
Yeah.
Like
that was a little much. Why? What I don't understand is why they did this to get the Emperor. I guess is it just they wanted the most evil, cruel person to be the Emperor? Was that the whole point?
You know what? I don't know. That's not explained, and it is a good point, because most stories, the Emperor is either hereditary or is like the mightiest warrior, and in this case, she's a kid who just is willing to like go further than anybody else is willing to go. Like she's the most cold-blooded, like psychopathic person they can find,
basically. Yeah.
You know what I just thought about?
Yeah,
Karen, for all the times that you and I have seen the Terran Empire throughout the years, from the original series till now, this is the most information we've ever actually gotten about the Terran Empire.
It's true. Yeah, it just kind of exists and is bad, and you don't really, you know. This is the most This is the most developed the Terran Empire has ever been. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but it is the most information. But it was hard to she seemed really nice, and I guess as I came out of this flashback, I'm like, oh wait, is she like? Did she do it to whoever? One thing that is so bad about her is that they're like, whoever loses is enslaved to the other for the rest of your life, right? And so now her poor boyfriend's son is going to be enslaved to her, and she like burns and mutilates. Like she doesn't have to do that. She could have kept him by her side as like her sex slave or her concubine or her servant, but she goes out of her way not only to like subjugate him, but to maim him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it surprised. Well, I mean, you thought he was dead, but I was going to say, I don't think it was a total surprise that it was not going to turn out well between two of them after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the way they did it, though, that they brought him back at the end. But yeah, I don't know. It was a weird show. I mean, like I said, I thought it was funny. As far as a movie goes, it wasn't like the worst 2 hours. I guess I enjoyed it. I just didn't know any of the backstory or understand some of what was going on. Like I didn't understand why, if they went to take her to wherever they were taking her at the Federation, that they ended up having her work with them instead. I was a little off on that. But it was a really good looking movie, and it definitely had really good choreography, and obviously the acting is really good. I agree. Some of the characters that made up the rest of the cast maybe weren't as good. Some of them were, some of them weren't. And you know how bad I am at names. I liked how do you say Olok.
Mari Hardwick. That's a lot.
Good. I think that Quasi was funny. I liked what they kind of had him going with him, like the, different outcomes was kind of funny. The other ones maybe not as much. But
I mean, I liked him better. I liked Quasi better than I liked Melly. I didn't love that she's an alien species that's irresistible to men. Which, first of all, if she's just naturally has some sort of irresistibility to men, you don't have to dress her half naked, right?
Like, if you do.
I mean,
you probably have a lot of young guys watching, so
yeah. I guess you have a lot of Star Trek nerds watching, but I feel like, first of all, irresistible men is like a very like not unusual idea. We see sirens and other kinds of magical stories and whatever. I just thought she wasn't that. I mean, I guess on a covert team, yes, having a woman who can seduce men is useful, but don't even tell me that Philippa Giorgio can't seduce any man that she tries to, right? I just felt like her, and then she got killed, and I was like, oh, her character is not, whatever. Quasi was better.
I do like the heart bubble, though.
The heart bubble is kind of cute. I wish I could do that, right? It's like blowing
smoke. I know, right?
Yeah, but I was like, really? We have a half-naked woman who's irresistible to men? Like, that has been like an idea in movies since like 1940. Yeah, it's overdone. To me, Zeph was maybe the
worst.
Yeah, I was gonna say least likable out of the bunch.
No, Zeph was the worst.
Yeah.
He was annoying.
Well, he was too much comedy, I think. And
I didn't even find him funny. I found him annoying. Like every time he was on the screen, I was like, okay, can we move on to something else?
Yeah. And again, the mech suit, not the most ingenious idea we've ever seen in Star Trek or anything. It's been kind of done a lot lately, right? And it's very kind of, I mean, I'm sorry, but like I see suits of armor in Game of Thrones that are easier to move around in than this. Like in the year, like in medieval times, it was easier to move around in the armor than this guy has, right?
Yeah. It's true.
I also, Jamie, didn't really love this. Oh, where'd he go?
He was there for a second.
So nothing against the actors, right? Sven Rogrock. This guy's name was Fuzz. And he's the guy that has a little character inside his brain.
Yeah, I thought he was funny at times. I mean, again, I don't know that they were all my
not in his brain. It's a robot.
Yeah, and it gave me total Men in Black. Right, we saw this in Men in Black, and we saw this in Doctor Who.
Yeah, we saw an entire society in Doctor Who.
Yeah, an entire society in Doctor Who of tiny people inside giant robots, man-sized robots.
That character didn't do it for me at all. I was kind of glad
at the end that it was his wife or whatever though in it. That was
funny. And of all the robot suits you're gonna have, isn't a Vulcan the hardest person to kind of species to?
Yeah, I thought that's what threw me was like, who would believe for a second that this guy's an actual Vulcan? Like,
not if he laughs all the time. No.
Yeah, right. Like, how stupid is the Federation in Section 31? Be like, oh, you should definitely disguise yourself as a Vulcan. That's so easy to pull off.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
I don't know. I just didn't expect, I guess, a Star Trek thing to be like a comedy, because if I classified it as anything, I would have classified it as like a comedy adventure. It wasn't very serious at all.
Now, I saw a review. I don't think it was the New York Times. It might have been New York Magazine. Said this was a heist movie, and I was like, you know what? It is a heist movie.
Yeah, it totally is.
A heist movie, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And they're just trying to steal this thing. And I didn't even like get the pictures of some of the other people that they were trying to steal this thing away from. Because it's kind of convoluted who has it, and then they go to the collector, right? They go. Is it called the Collector in this movie, or is the Collector in Marvel?
Collector's Marvel. It was shit.
Yeah.
His last name is No.
No. Yeah. Yeah, they're basically just trying. So they go to him, and there's other people that are in this that are, that they pass it to, and it's basically just a long kind of a heist thing, and they end up finding out like who's the main person who has it. Like, lo and behold, the ex-boyfriend is alive, and he's bitter.
Rightfully so.
It was a bad breakup.
Yeah,
I did kind of like how how he faked his death.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
I was surprised, I guess, because I didn't I wasn't thinking it was going to happen, but then after it's like, oh yeah, I should have thought of that type of thing. Like, it wasn't like a super shock or anything.
And how he grew this poison, and they all
I like that.
He really didn't die, and that was kind of good. And I thought, he he was certainly believable in everything he did, and of course we love James Hiroyuki Liao, I think is how you say it. And it was great to see him again. He's been in
the Orphan Black spinoff we watched.
Yes, he played, what's his name, the big bad in the recent Orphan Black spinoff.
Yeah,
which is where we
bad.
That guy's name is
I don't remember.
The bad guy who was trying.
No, I know who you're talking. No, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his character's name.
I don't know. His name is the character's name is
Paul
Darrows.
Paul Darrows. That's okay.
But he goes back to. I just watched all of Blue Bloods, and he has a recurring role on Blue Bloods, so I saw him from time to time there. He's been in a bunch of stuff I haven't watched. He did an episode of Manifest, you might know him from. He did an episode of Preacher. He was on the show called Unforgettable. He goes back to Prison Break, right? Like, he was on Prison Break. So he's an actor who's been in a lot of stuff that we like. He had a small role on Star Trek Into Darkness also. He was like a bridge officer. So this is his return to the Star Trek universe. And he was in Battle LA, which I just rewatched not that long ago. It was on TV. So great to see him back on our television. And he did a good job. He was there were some good fight scenes. I have no pictures of it. I have a picture of this fight scene. Remember the original? The first fight scene where the thief comes and he's got this phase suit.
They really got to say phase. I like that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a cool fight with the phase suits.
Yeah,
and then she got her foot stuck.
I wish that Paramount had given us a photograph that was not out of phase, so we could see this awesome high kick. And they had like one or two more fights, right? But she's in her 60s and she can still kick like that, right? I think she's 60 years old or 61 years old, and she can still like fight. And I know she doesn't do all of her own stunts anymore.
I was gonna say, some of it's probably a stunt person, but
her though. I think
she does a lot of it.
She does a lot of it. She doesn't do it all. Like, she would never like jump a motorcycle onto a freight train like she did when she was young, right?
Yeah.
But
I was just gonna say, to be fair, Jackie Chan was still doing this all his own stuff in his 60s. So.
He was.
He kept getting hurt.
More credit to him, but Michelle, I just saw an interview with her, and she's like, yeah, I have a stunt double who's awesome and does all my stuff, and every now and then I'm like, hey, can you just do this one? Because she doesn't, have to do it anymore, and she's but she still does a lot of it.
No, she's awesome.
And so, it was great to see her in action. I almost would have liked to have seen more.
62.
62? I almost would have liked to have seen more action and less talking in this movie. I did like her and Amari Richardson as a team.
Yeah.
I wish they would write him a little bit stronger. He didn't really feel like her equal in terms of, he has personality on screen and they had some chemistry as colleagues, but I would like them to maybe write him as a stronger foil for her. If this were to go forward.
That's fair. Now, do we know for sure it's not going forward, or is there still
We have no idea.
We have no idea, but this movie is being panned by the critics.
It is.
Yeah.
I could see it as a series, though. It maybe would do a bit better because it does seem like a pilot.
Even if they had only done like 6 episodes, it does feel like a pilot, and it feels like not a great pilot. Like this, if it was this pilot, you might not get your series made.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if this was like, you know, a movie lead-in, intentionally, you know, done like this to lead into the series, like if this was the series premiere, I could totally understand why it played the way it did. Yeah. As a whole complete unit and never to be seen again, it was definitely it was a little lacking.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I appreciate that at least you didn't have to know Star Trek to be able to watch it and enjoy it. Because I mean, like I said, it was decent. I didn't not like it.
Let's put it this way. Artie and I, you know, Artie, who's seen all the newer Star Trek stuff with me and everything, knows the history. But Damon watched it with us too, because Damon and I watched Lower Decks together. So he doesn't know a lot of the Star Trek lore, but he at least got the Star Trek vibe, and he loved it. But he's 11. But he loved it because of all the action. He liked all the fight scenes and everything. He thought all that stuff was cool.
Well, I mean,
and he's big on the visual effects.
Maybe they're going for some younger audiences to get into Star Trek with some of these shows. Or maybe you should start introducing to some of Michelle Yeoh's early, like 1980s, like when she did all of her awesome Hong Kong kung fu movies. Like, you know, she does.
Even Artie hasn't seen that stuff yet. We had always meant to, and didn't happen.
I haven't seen much of it either. I need to probably do it. AJ, so I can correct myself. Casey Roll, she plays this character named Rachel Garrett, who was on The Next Generation. She was the captain of the Enterprise C. And she was played by Trisha O'Neill.
I was going to say.
Okay, that makes more sense because this takes place before.
Yeah, this takes place before
TNG.
Yeah. She's a younger version of the character that will be, because I'm sorry, Michelle Yeoh doesn't bloop 900 years.
No, she stayed behind.
Michael Burnham bloops 900 years, and Giorgio stays behind. So this takes place.
Giorgio was already gone off the ship before any of that stuff happened.
Yeah. So she plays a younger version. So there's, you know, she's sort of like a minor character that's sort of a fan favorite among the Next Generation.
Good connection, because I thought she was an original character. I didn't even make the connection.
Yeah.
Or did you learn that from reading?
I learned it from reading. I didn't make the connection. I haven't watched much Next Generation in the last like 8 years. So
I just knew the actress was from Magicians. That's all I knew.
I do kind of wonder where they go with a series where they have created a character that is so like bad, and as you said, really can't ever be redeemed. How do you go forward with her as a, like, it's hard to make a series where she's the. I guess that's why they're dumping in this ensemble, right? But she's like.
It's one of those ones where if you're going to do it, everybody's going to have to just suspend disbelief to accept it.
Well, no, you know what it kind of is. It's one of those situations where it's kind of like Suicide Squad, where you know, they're criminals, so you kind of use them to your advantage.
Yeah.
In situations like this.
Yeah. I guess
it's like it's basically instead of putting her in prison for the rest of her life, they are using her.
Yeah.
It's really the only way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, they could also, so they at the end of this show, they close the connection to the mirror universe, so that the Terran Empire can't come through.
Yeah, somebody explained to me, because I apparently blinked. How the heck does setting off a bomb close the rift? I missed something there. Or did they not explain that?
I mean, it's just
that's what it does. I don't know. I just wondered because it seems like a strange way to close a hole.
It's just a little. Well, he was going to use it on the Federation.
It was something, but it was something with the ion. Oh, because that it was because the combination of that device and the ion field.
Oh yeah.
Because it destroys the entire section of the universe. Like that was the whole point of that.
Okay, so it destroyed the black hole sort of thing or whatever it was, the rip.
Yeah.
Wormhole, whatever. Okay, that kind of.
I mean, basically, what happened was they sent the God's Eye through was it the God's Eye?
The God's End.
God's
End. God's End. God's End.
God's End or God's End. So by sending that through, they basically destroyed part of the Terran universe on the other side. Which, if it destroyed that area, it got rid of the rift.
Yeah. I guess, to me, I would think it would make a bigger hole, I guess. I'm looking at it like, I don't know. Yeah, but no,
yeah.
I just was curious if they
explained. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't really, yeah. I mean,
it's not that it wasn't just that it was a bomb. It's not just a bomb. It's a device that destroys a large section of a universe.
And just makes it like, I don't know, like negative
non-existent, negative space or something.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's all a little like iffy, Sandy, because Jamie, I think a lot of I just called you by the name of my other redheaded friend. It's all a little like, if you really were a Star Trek nerd, there is a little bit of fiddling around with time. Like, it's not really clear how all of this really could work. Like, a lot of time has passed because of coming through from the other universe, and the state of the Terran Empire is a little unclear, I think, AJ, right? Whether they really could invade and take over anything. I think that's why.
It sounds like the Terran Empire has completely decimated their own universe, and that's why they're coming through.
Yeah, they've
destroyed based on what San had said.
Yeah, that they basically destroyed their entire universe, and they have.
Oh my God! So whenever Michelle Yeoh would call him San, it did sound like she was saying son.
Yeah.
So Artie Damon was like, "How is that her son?" I was like, "No, his name is San." It's like, it just sounds like she's saying son.
It did sometimes sound like son. Yeah. When she was saying San.
He was very confused.
It was kind of, how did you guys I wish I had a photo of it, but how did you guys feel at the end where he dies in Philippa's arms and she's like, "Oh yeah, I still love you too." I mean,
I think it showed her. I think it was an attempt to show her humanity.
Yeah.
What little she has, right?
Right. I still love you too, even though I maimed you and made you lick my boot for most of your life.
It was a little hard to buy that she was upset over it.
And then she's ready to sacrifice herself to blow off the bomb and destroy the Terrans, right? And I don't really think that's in character for Philippa Georgiou.
I think it's in character for her for the fact that they had no way out. Or at the same time, though, it's also showing, even though she was an evil dictator, I guess anybody can change. I mean, we saw her with Michael. I mean, Jamie doesn't know this, but we saw, Discovery, you could see Michael was her weak point, and I think that was Michael was her attempt at redemption, I guess.
Well, the one version in our universe, she was really a second mother to Michael.
Yeah.
And certainly a mentor and a very excellent, caring captain. And so in the Terran Empire, she's a horrendous dictator, empress, and gigantic bitch. But Michael shows up. Michael is still her evil Mike. Mirror Michael is her right hand, and she.
Well, Mirror Michael was dead. That's why she was confused.
Well, But Mira Michael had been her protege.
Yes.
And then our Michael takes her place and tries to be her, right? But you can see the affection she had and the little bit of, she can't really trust anyone, but she trust, like, yes, Michael, you're right. Michael was her weak spot. And I guess, is there something going on where all versions of characters will feel, right?
Right.
Now Jamie will never go back and watch Discovery because I told her Jason Isaacs is a bad character and gets tortured and kind of deserves it. Well, there's two versions.
He was never going to go back and watch it anyway.
No, there's two versions of him also, sort of.
No, there's only one.
Yes, he's faking that he's the good version.
Well, yeah.
Right? Yeah. But, you know.
If I ever go back and watch it, I'm not going to remember half of what you said, so it's okay.
I mean, Jamie, he's a bad guy in The Patriot also. He's a
bad guy in a lot of things. You say that like that's surprising.
He plays a good bad guy.
Usually play the nice, the nice soft guy. He's usually bad guy.
He's a bad guy in What If.
He is.
In what?
What If? He's in What If. He's one of the voices.
He voices one of the characters.
Probably the one I skipped without knowing it, or I wouldn't have skipped it. Which one was he in?
He's in like the last 3.
Okay, yeah. I watched the one, but I had forgotten that I had been planning to schedule her.
He plays the Eminence. He's one of the Watchers. You know how there's like the Watcher and then
okay, yeah,
some like extra Watcher kind of bosses, but bossy friends or whatever they are. He plays.
Yeah, I saw the end of that, but it lasted for like 10 seconds or something. So
that. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but. So, I mean, I guess what we're saying is we didn't really love this, but we'd watch more if it came out because it's Star Trek and it's Michelle Yeoh and
also the costumes are. I was just because I'm looking at it, thinking how great the costumes are in this, right?
Especially and the hair. I loved her hair, which you can maybe.
Yeah, I know, and the color even just.
I put this picture in here, not this one. I put this picture in here because I was like, if you can look closely, there's like all these cool braids and stuff in her hair. And those costumes are pretty good. I mean, a couple of them are ridiculous.
I think if it was to come back, it definitely has room to get better.
Well, they should get rid of some of the bad characters. Like,
we already killed one of the bad characters, and I don't know. Maybe with the wife, maybe the Vulcan will be better.
We killed that guy.
We got rid of that guy.
Back with the wife. She got killed. I do object to that costume. And the way I cropped it, it's like all thigh there, but it was either crop her head or her leg. So I kept her head. If it came back and they maybe got a new team, maybe just had like, Michelle Yeoh and Omari Hardwick in it together, and maybe where are they? Where's that picture of them? Maybe just had these two and had like a new team with them.
Well, I'm okay with what was her name? I can't remember anybody's name.
Garrett, Captain Garrett.
Garrett.
Captain Garrett. Casey Roll as Rachel Garrett. She was pretty good, and she has a timeline in Star Trek that they could develop her. I didn't love that they tried to make like everybody has a superpower, whether it's real or technology. Not him. And I was like, really? Do we have to have all? Can't they just be like regular space-going humans and aliens that don't, because this guy on the left is a shapeshifter. She's a cyber.
I have to say, when he saved that guy,
that scene was
thing, that was pretty cool. I like that.
That was pretty good.
When he kind of spider webbed, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was cool.
But all right, so there's a chance that I don't know with these kind of ratings, I can't imagine Paramount's going to put more money into this. Except they're pretty. They're pretty committed to Star Trek, although they have canceled a few shows lately and are making some changes, right? And Michelle Yeoh, who knows the next time she's going to be available?
Well, exactly. I think that might actually be the.
Yeah, and I think if she wasn't in it, like if they tried to do it just with
I don't think they do. They don't do it with her.
Yeah, and I don't know that I would watch it if she wasn't.
I mean, she does seem to really love this character, and she says it was her idea to do a spin. That she was first going to suggest a spinoff, so she seems to be pretty committed to this character. and probably would come back if they did it, maybe, right? But we'll see. Jamie, you got to watch the next one is Starfleet Academy. Jamie, you will probably like that.
Isn't that the one that's a kid show?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about kid, but
no, it's not animated. It's going to be live action, and there's a couple characters from Discovery who've spun off onto it, right?
Right, but I thought it was like a young adult.
No.
Oh my God, we didn't talk about the most important thing. All the press materials told us we couldn't talk about the spoiler, and there are no photographs of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was her voice at the beginning. So that was pretty cool. It was her.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did not. I gotta say, I did not like the voiceover and the entry narration where they were like, "Mission file number 1, blah blah blah. This is Philippa. This dog bite." I didn't really like those like title cards.
No, I didn't either. Narration. I thought the title cards were dumb.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, I was going to ask you, Jamie, because you might have relied on a little more exposition. Did you find?
Do you think I actually remembered even one of the things on those title cards?
Yeah.
No. So it didn't really.
I don't know. I felt like the way the title card, the way they did them, I thought was dumb. Yeah. Like you could do a title card, to tell you a location or something, but I don't know. It almost felt like they were trying to be funny with the title
card. They could have just done like an overlay, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was weird the way they did it.
And the voiceover just was not the way Federation bosses send their communiques, right? It was just very chatty and informal and kind of, I didn't like that at all. I loved Jamie Lee Curtis showing up at the end.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
That was really well, they really protected that spoiler very well. I hadn't heard about it before. When I saw that cameo, I had instructions we all had instructions not to reveal it. It hasn't gotten out. I think it hasn't gotten out in all the reviews and stuff.
Which is surprising.
I was gonna say,
it is surprising.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
yeah, it is kind of.
And she has these like sort of implants in her head, and
You know what it reminded me of? Seven.
Yeah, it did.
It looked like she used to be a Borg.
Yeah. It did remind me of Seven, also with that thing around her eye or whatever, right? It was it wasn't the greatest scene, and you see the nightclub like warps or whatever.
But it was still Jamie Lee Curtis, so.
But it was Jamie Lee Curtis, as Control. So I don't know if you like really caught on, Jamie, to who Control is, but
Control is who sent them out. I got that, but beyond that, I don't.
Control was an AI computer program that that Section 31 used to assess threats, and of course it when AJ goes crazy and decides to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And then of course Michael Burnham and Discovery are the only people that are able to stop it, but that's why they get blooped 900 years into the future to save the past from Control or whatever.
Okay. No, I didn't know any of that.
So, and Control was supposedly destroyed. Like part of Michael and the ship looping 900 years in the future was the consequence of destroying Control, this terrible AI that was taking everything over. But clearly, Control is still around and is morphed into Jamie Lee Curtis and is helpful now to Section 31. So these are big questions that would be really huge if they were to continue with it, and if Jamie Lee Curtis would be in a follow-up series.
Yeah. Would she, though? I don't know. Maybe, but probably not very often if she was.
Well, yeah, maybe she'd cameo now and then or whatever. But that was kind of huge, seeing her show up there. And I don't know how they did that. I don't know if Jamie Lee Curtis is a fan of Star Trek. I don't know if she how she showed up in this. I don't know anything about it. I don't see the comments in the chat are mostly us and Jamie saying hello to each other. Alice, I'm not sure if you mean that Michelle looks like Susan Lucci in this photograph or probably in the big hair photograph, right? Like maybe in this big hair photograph is where she
I don't know. I think more so in the other one you just put up. I mean, it doesn't look a lot like her, but like I see it a little bit.
Yeah, I see it, especially with that kind of dramatic, like, I'm not saying Michelle Yeoh has 80s makeup on, but when Susan Lucci used to wear it, I can see how she looks like her a little bit.
Yeah.
In this
the
picture,
one with Garrett, she said.
Yeah. In here, maybe more.
As I say, you're running the photos. I don't know which photo it is.
Yeah. Well, I only have a couple photos of her, including she doesn't look like anybody in this one.
All
right. So
was that I'm trying to remember if I missed a part they ever showed. They didn't show if that was her, if that was Santa in the suit, right?
They don't show it then, but we find out later that it was him.
They never show it because it's a stuntman, but later we find out it was him.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was supposed to be.
And that's why he was totally like covering himself so she wouldn't ever know it was him.
What I figured.
He really
I like the way they choreographed the fight with being in and out of phase, though. That was pretty cool. It was different.
It was kind of cool the way it was a cool sequence, the way they're like jumping through walls and sliding around and stealing the box from each other, and they're triggering that phase device. It reminds me a little bit of, there is a Marvel character played by Killjoys. What was her name? The lady in Killjoys?
Ghost.
She plays Ghost in Marvel, yeah. Hannah something or other.
Hannah, common. Now that you said that, I'm never going to think of her name.
And that character phases also.
Hannah John.
Not intentionally.
Hannah John Campbell, yeah. And for all the money that Marvel spends on their CGI, I kind of enjoyed this better, this phasing, but it was only like a 10-minute sequence and Marvel has to sustain it for a lot longer, right? And have it make sense. So I'm comparing apples and oranges, but I did enjoy this out of phase fight scene. And I enjoyed that it wasn't a plot point. It was a thing. He had this cool suit. They had this giant fight, and then it's over, and we don't have to hear about phasing again for the rest of the show.
Right. But yeah, like I said, the whole movie looked really good. I mean, from the choreography to the costumes to the sets, it was definitely. I mean, they definitely spend money on it.
Yeah.
But you still need good characters and a good plot.
There's a picture that I didn't download. It's near the end. Where, at the end where they sort of reunite in the club and the gang is back together and they're like, oh, Giorgio, do you want to join us or whatever? I think that's a scene where she's wearing these kind of shoulder pads that stick up like 6-inch points off her shoulders into the air.
Yeah, that looks like an 80s dress.
Yeah. That's a Susan Lucci dress for sure.
That's a Susan Lucci dress.
I didn't love, I love this one with these sort of pleather sleeves that she has.
I like that. I like that a lot. And it's like purple. I like purple.
Yeah.
So
I didn't love them all. I don't really love, like, I feel like that brocade fabric Quasi is wearing could be on like a bad couch somewhere.
I thought the same thing when I was watching it, that he looked like he was a couch.
Well, their costumes, they were a bit miss.
Yeah.
But the rest of the costumes are pretty good.
In general, they were pretty good. I'd say one thing I didn't like about all this night, like I love the idea of Philippa becoming like a nightclub impresario, and that she presides over this nightclub where her martinis are garnished with eyeballs, and
that was pretty good though.
I didn't love all the singing, like that opera singing we have seen.
You know what it reminded me of? Fifth Element.
Yes,
that's what I kept thinking of the whole scene.
I kind of tuned the singing out actually, and just paid attention to everything else.
Yeah, it didn't bother me, but it did keep making me think of Fifth Element.
It was going on, and I was like, really? Do we need this singing in this club? It did feel like Fifth Element. I mean, there were the writers were clearly influenced by a bunch of stuff, and I can't decide if it was an homage or they were like lazy and copying, right? Yeah. All right. I guess we'll see what happens. I don't think this will get another.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't think it
It's
will
just
either.
been universally panned.
I mean, if it did, I think even I'd watch it. And like I said, I'm obviously clearly not the intended audience though either. So, but
Well,
yeah, I mean, I thought it was decent. I think I liked it more than you guys did, but I didn't have preconceived ideas and notions and understandings from it, so it's a little different.
Yeah,
I think it's a show that could work as something to bring in new viewers, because outside of Giorgio, none of us know anything about any of the other stuff and the characters.
So they're all new characters.
So I mean,
it makes it easy to.
I mean, you learn enough about Giorgio in this that's really all you need.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really know this site called MovieWeb, but they're reporting that even though the movie is getting like really destroyed, it has a franchise. It is the lowest Rotten Tomatoes of any Star Trek ever. But apparently, it's still like a streaming, like
Success.
Yeah, like critics aren't enjoying it, and like true Trekkies aren't like really maybe into it, but people are still streaming this movie. And so like
let me put it to you this way:
ratings don't matter if it's a hit on streaming, right? Like if people are watching it, they'll make a new one.
I read something today actually to kind of put it in perspective. The Acolyte was the second highest rated show on Disney Plus last year. In 2024, Acolyte was the second highest rated show.
So I guess it depends. It can be trashed.
So here's the thing. People are watching things, but they might not necessarily like those things.
But I think like maybe Paramount doesn't care as long as you're watching it, right? As long as you're watching it and you're seeing the ads.
I was going to say, as long as people are watching it, they're making money. That's what they care about. And it sounds like the cast and the ones who made it enjoyed it, and they seem to like it and want to do more. So, yeah, I don't know.
This might be a thing that if I sat on it for a while, it might age better than it is like fresh in my mind right now. And it might be a thing that if you watch it again in like a year, you'd be like, okay, that was like this crazy ass Star Trek thing they tried. And whatever.
I think, like I said, I think as a premiere episode of a series, I think it was good. As a standalone standalone to never be seen again, it was lacking.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, like, if it came back and there was more, this might age better as an intro.
Oh, I think absolutely, because you can flesh out the characters more. You can,
Yeah.
I feel like you also expect more when it's a movie, though, even if it's a streamed movie. Like, you expect.
Oh, absolutely, because you know what, a streamed movie, just because the way the world is now, just because it doesn't go into a movie theater, doesn't give it any less expectations. Like, I'll tell you what, I watched on Netflix the Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx movie. What the hell is it called?
Back to Action. I see an
Back to Action.
That's the only reason I know that.
That was really good. I mean, that totally could have been a hit movie in the theaters. I liked it a lot.
Well, and like, here's the thing, like, we watch a lot of television. We talk about TV on this show for like the last 15 years.
Longer than that.
I was going to say more than that. Closer to 20.
And we are always inclined to cut a pilot some slack, right? Yeah. Like if it's a pilot, we're always like, oh, it's the first episode. They're setting it up.
You need a lot of exposition. You need character explanation.
Right.
And if that's what this was, we'd cut it that slack. If it was really a standalone movie, as they say, it leaves something to be desired.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bridge 11 is asking for a fan of Critical Drinker. I haven't seen that. It sounds like it's
what is the Critical Drinker? I'm Googling now the Critical Drinker.
Yeah, I know. It looks like it's a commentary show, maybe.
I kind of
don't know. I hadn't heard of it either, so. That's what I wondered if you guys
Critical Drinker is a Scottish YouTuber who reviews movies, TV shows, and video games with a sarcastic and cynical tone. I'm already in love. I already have to watch this.
Now, considering it's called the Critical Drinker, does that mean he sits there getting drunk the whole time? Because that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing from our podcast. Doing this
on video and I'll get drunk. That's good.
I used to drink a lot on this show back in the day. Now I drink non-alcoholic beer on this show.
Who are you kidding? You used to. How many times were we waiting for Karen coming from the bar?
I know. 20 years, man. I was young. I was young 20 years ago. I don't know if he actually drinks during the show. It is not. It doesn't. What I'm Googling right now doesn't say that he drinks.
I don't know. I'm assuming it has something to do with drinking, though, or it wouldn't be called that. But
one of our best podcasts ever involved an inebriated guest.
Yes.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Wait, maybe we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about Andrea.
Oh no, I wasn't. I thought you meant when.
I know you were talking. Yeah, I know what you thought. No, you don't remember that. It was. I think it was the second time we talked to Andrea. She had been out to dinner with her parents, and she had been drinking, and she was a little inebriated when she came on the podcast. We had so much fun that night.
Yeah, that was fun. We need to do some Lost reunion stuff.
Yeah. So, Jamie, we're going to talk about Marvel after this, but I was about to download the title card for Paradise, and I just didn't do it. I think we're going to hold that discussion for next week, but do you want to give a little
spoiler-free synopsis?
I will not spoil it because part of what's good about. Did you see any of it? Let me ask you that first.
No, I didn't.
Okay. I don't want to spoil the end of the first episode because
don't.
You have to watch it. I'm not. I'm just saying I won't talk about it without spoiling.
See, that goes without saying.
No, I know. I'm just telling people in case they want to hear about it. Basically, it's Sterling K. Brown, and he is a Secret Service agent, and he is trying to find out who killed the president. Basically, is the story. But it's not. It's hard to explain without talking, and I'm not going to. I'm just saying it's hard to explain that. It is not what you think. That's all I'll say. It is a good show. I enjoyed it. It is part murder mystery, part twisty thing. It's good. And it's obviously got a really good cast. Well, I'm just being very careful what I say because I don't want to spoil. But yeah, it's got a really good cast. It's got good script. It's on Hulu. They released the first 3 episodes. They released the first 2 early because it was supposed to be on today. And they released it early. And I did put out the one interview that I did with Chris Marshall, Nicole Bryden-Bloom, and John Beavers. And I also have a press conference to put out with the 3 leads, Sterling K. Brown, James Marsden, and what is her name? I don't want to butcher her name. Julianne Nicholson, which will be out tomorrow. Yeah, it's a really good show. I think people will like it. If you like the kind of stuff that we cover, it's pretty good. It's a good mystery. I'm enjoying it. So I won't say much more because it would ruin it, but it's good.
Totally separate and off what we're talking about because I keep seeing a commercial for it. The new show Watson, is that supposed to be a spinoff of Sherlock?
It's not a spinoff. It is a completely new show. Yes, it's about Sherlock Holmes. I have not seen it. It sounds like it's more of like a House.
No, it does look like House. It's just Watson, not Sherlock, right?
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Is it? I know you watched Elementary, so I was wondering if it was supposed to be a spinoff of that.
No, it's not. I watched Elementary. On Elementary, that Watson is played by Lucy Liu.
Yeah,
I never watched it. Sorry.
And on this show, Watson is played by Morris Chestnut, so they are not at all the same person, right?
I was just curious because the title card says that Sherlock dies and Watson.
Yeah, no, it sounds a lot like House. I mean, but to be fair, House was based on Sherlock Holmes. So
the premise is that Moriarty has killed Holmes, and Watson gets a job in a hospital, doing the House thing, treating strange patients, diseases, and then maybe he thinks Moriarty's still alive. Eve Harlow is also in Watson, which is a reason to watch it because we love Eve Harlow from. I mean, she was on.
Do we love her though?
Well, actually, we hated.
All right, we like Eve Harlow. We don't always like her characters.
The characters maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, so there are some characters that carry over from maybe Sherlock to Elementary, like Shinwell. I don't know if Shinwell is in Sherlock, but Shinwell, who's a character in Elementary, is going to be in this new Watson show. I think there may be a couple others that go over. Eve Harlow, yeah. I mean, so you know how much I hated her character in The 100, right? Like I just hated Maya in The 100. You know, she was in 12 Monkeys. She was in she was in Star Trek Discovery most recently. I did like Mole. Like I hated Mole, and then I liked Mole in Star Trek Discovery, right?
Yeah, I thought they were good.
Yeah. She was in The Night Agent. You know, she was the assassin in The Night Agent, and she was so good as a psychotic.
Season 2's back.
I know, I've watched almost all of it already.
I've only seen the first episode.
It's not as good, but it's still good, you know.
They never are. But I don't know. I thought the first episode was pretty good, so. Yeah.
I mean, you know, they managed to keep the girl in it, right?
How is I'm looking, not that I plan on watching it, but I'm looking at the cast for Watson. How are we supposed to take this seriously? They cast Randall Park as Moriarty.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to me because in Elementary, Moriarty is a woman.
Well, it's crazy to me because Randall Park is just comedic, like.
Yeah, right. He's from Fresh Off the Boat, right? He's and he's in Veep. He's a huge comedian, yeah. So
I was gonna say, Bridge says 12 Monkeys the movie was better than the series. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Ooh,
we're all big friends of.
They're two different. They're two different. They're two different entities.
Two different things. Yeah.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I thought
I liked them both.
I did too.
I remember when the movie first came out. I loved the movie.
I had never seen the movie before. I watched it
really
in preparation for the series. Before the series came out, I watched the movie.
How had you never seen? I mean, Bruce Willis was.
Even I saw it before. I usually tend to be the one who hasn't seen stuff.
No, I have huge gaps in my movie going. I have tons of movies I haven't seen, and I had never seen 12 Monkeys, and I went to see it. I didn't see it. I like rented it or whatever, put it on streaming or whatever before the series came out because I was like, let me make sure I understand everything. And then the series is like loosely related.
Yeah, very loose.
I like them both. Bridge 11. I like them both, and I agree with AJ that maybe if you think of them as two things that really shouldn't be compared, exist in the same universe but aren't really related, maybe that would help you appreciate the series better or not. Look, you're allowed to have your opinion that you don't like it as well. That's cool also.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I like them both for different reasons. I mean, the movie's classic. I love the movie too.
I think,
but I really enjoyed the series. I
think when you have a movie and then you do a remake of a movie, then you can compare the two. When it switches to like TV miniseries or TV series or something along those lines, it's a new thing. But then now if somebody was to come out and do a remake of 12 Monkeys, do another TV show of 12 Monkeys, then it's comparable. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Maybe if it was like 13 Monkeys or 12 Monkeys in a
13, that's that. Oceans.
But I'd like all those Oceans movies, which are like not really related, but kind of, but they get incrementally worse with each one.
Yes, they do.
I like them both separately, but I respect Bridge saying that and look, Bridge now says, look, Bridge, can I just call you Bridge? I'm shortening your name, Bridge 11. Can I call you Bridge? Didn't say the series was bad, said the movie was better. That's totally fair. Yes, the movie is a great achievement. The movie maybe is like, look, I could say I could agree the movie is better in that 12 Monkeys isn't exactly like an Emmy Award winning. It's good. I like it for what it is, but it's not like a landmark achievement in filmmaking. Maybe neither is 12 Monkeys, but 12 Monkeys was sort of really unusual when it came out, and a really interesting casting of those two great actors. and very different actors. And I mean, I think that's a fair comment. And I certainly don't want to fall into trying to convince you that they're equal, because they're not. And the movie, okay, I think it's fair to say the movie's better in a lot of ways.
I would say I'd maybe say that too. I don't know. Like I said, I like them for different reasons. Like as a standalone short story, like I think the movie works better, but to get more in depth, I guess, with the series, it is so much different. Like so different though. Like the outside idea of the virus is there, but the rest of it's so different. It's kind
I'd say thinking back over the 12 Monkeys show, there were many times that I said to you guys, what the hell did I just watch on my television? I have no clue. What the hell was that? And while the movie like stretched my mind once in a while, I never really felt like I didn't know what the hell was going on.
That's true. That's fair. Yeah.
So fair. I think it's fair to say it's better. And look, if we were going to have a whole hour on this, I'm sure there are plenty of ways we could talk about how it's better.
With that being said, what if?
What do we? What if, Jamie? What did you get up to on What If?
I did not. I am sorry. I did not watch a lot. I had forgotten that we were doing the whole Yellow Jackets party thing, and I didn't get a lot of it watched. But I watched. I didn't know which we were. I asked you guys which we were starting with, but nobody was answering my text.
I texted you back 3 through 8, but maybe you didn't get it.
Okay. I didn't see it. My text messages kept giving me errors. I watched the one. Hold on. I'm looking at the list to tell you which one it was. I watched the one with Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop.
Oh, that's my favorite one of the whole season.
Yeah, I remembered we didn't talk about that one. That's why I picked that one. Yeah. I was going to watch the other two, but then I remembered I had to do the thing and I ran out of time.
That's my favorite of the whole season. In my opinion, that was the best. What I want out
different. Like it was such a departure. I enjoyed too how he the Watcher explained, whatever he said, like on the fringes of the universe or whatever, that they're the realities are like way, way different. So yeah, it was different. I liked it. It was pretty good.
I mean, if we just want to jump into this episode, AJ,
this was episode 5, right? So what did we talk about last week? Just episode 1 and 2
Yeah,
I can't remember what we talked about.
We talked about 1 and 2.
About all of them. That's not like
we only talked about 1 and 2. We haven't talked about 3 through 8. But let's just skip 4 and 5 while Jamie's here. I felt like the animation is slightly different in this episode. These are 2 great characters, like Shang-Chi, and I love Kate Bishop. AJ, you watched Hawkeye. I don't know, Jamie, if you watched Hawkeye, the series.
I watched Hawkeye. That wasn't. I guess it was. I was looking to see. I didn't think that sounded like Haley though. It's like maybe it's just because the character looks older as like the drawing.
It was her.
I attributed it to a different voice, but it didn't sound like her.
It is her.
I see that.
Well, you know what's funny actually is it happened for me and Artie because it's an animation of her, not actually her on the screen. I kept hearing, like, if I wasn't really paying attention for a second, I kept hearing Vi from Arcane because she does the voice for Vi.
Well, she does. You didn't talk about Arcane.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe that's why it didn't sound like it to me. I was probably hearing that.
I just felt like what I want out of What If is the anthology. Like, I got to say, as we talk about this tonight, I'm not so down with the through line and the serialization that comes into play over these episodes. I really like the standalone What If episodes. I think this episode is entitled "Excuse Me While I Take Off My Hat." Is that the title of this? Because he takes off. In that first scene,
I was going to say, it says "What If" 1872, according to Internet Movie Database, but there's been always.
I guess he says it. I guess he says it. Excuse me. Remember, he throws his hat off in the air, and him and Kate,
to distract them.
20 guys did, and then he catches his hat, and I love the anthology of this show, and I love when it's sort of a real what if. I don't always love some of these what if things get a little too out there, right? But this felt kind of good to me. I liked them together. I like that they brought back his sister, who was the antagonist in the movies. They brought her back to be the antagonist here, but things were a little bit different. I thought the animation style was a little different. I love this scene. I love this shot. And And then this is one of the episodes where we see the Watcher starting to intervene, right? This is where the serialization has been happening since like maybe episode 3-ish, right?
Yeah, I think the first time he intervened was with Riri.
Oh, that might be episode 5. That's episode 5. And a little bit last season. Actually, Jamie, how you dropped it and only watched episode 6.
I mean, it was fine. I watched the first 2. Don't forget.
Yes,
I just didn't watch 3 and 4.
And then you fast forward to 6 and picked the best one.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't really tons that was. I mean, you're right. It did have the thing about the Watchers at the end and everything, but there wasn't really anything that was in it that didn't make sense. I'm trying to think. Did it even have anything with the through line in it other than with the Watchers?
And that's what I originally like about this, about What If, especially in season 1, that it was really like, what if this happened? And it was a contained story in one.
Yeah, I'd rather have like the individual anthologies with it. I agree. Because that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's been my biggest complaint since last season. Like the first season, okay, fine, that was fine. And then last season, trying to connect everything, it bothered me. And this season, I mean, the through line here was Uatu kept getting involved. That was the through line here.
Yeah.
Which kind of works. But I felt like the What If episodes themselves weren't that strong, most of them.
Yeah, I like the first season the best. I told you guys that.
First season the best. Jamie, there is a little Doctor Strange that you haven't caught. I think this is Doctor Strange in episode 5. And then
it definitely wasn't in this episode.
That's episode 5, and then he figures into the finale in episode 8, and he's around a little bit. Who I know, but I know he's one of your favorite characters from the entire Marvel universe. But I struggled with the season also. I guess AJ, and I'll get into a little more. This season went deep on like characters. So, like in episode 6, Shang-Chi was a blockbuster movie, right? And people might have seen it, but Kate Bishop comes out of the Hawkeye series, and did everybody see it? I don't know if everybody would get this, but it's still better than digging into the Eternals. Why do they keep forcing the Eternals on us, AJ?
I don't ask me.
Because pretty much nobody liked it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this was probably the best episode. I enjoyed this episode a lot, and a fun little thing at little Easter egg at the end of the episode when Kate says about the kid. She's like, that kid's got a real iron fist on him. That's a little joke. Because he's an Iron Fist. The kid grows up to be an Iron
Fist, yeah. An Iron Fist.
But I thought that was a fun little.
That is a fun one. Well, Jamie, you picked the right one.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely going to watch the rest of them. I
know you like Loki, and there's a blue Loki in this, right?
That episode was fun.
Which one's this? 5.
That's 5, right? No, 5 is Riri. He's not in the Riri episode, right?
That's 4.
He's in 4, yeah.
He's in the Howard the Duck episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's lots of people in the Howard the Duck episode. That's a great episode.
Yeah, and
that was fun.
I'm not sure that the Howard the Duck
no,
episode.
Who is, and I should know this, and I don't know, it's not sticking out for me. Who was Riri? Which one was that from?
Okay, so did you see Wakanda Forever?
Oh, okay, that's why I don't remember all their names from that. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
she's and she has a new, and I think part of the reason they had one with her is because there.
She's gonna be in the new movie.
Sometime this year, her Disney Plus show is coming out. Ironheart.
Okay.
She's kind of a minor character in.
Yeah, I was gonna say because she isn't Iron Fairy, but I don't.
Well, Wakanda Forever, they introduced her because of her TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've only seen it like once though, so I don't remember a lot of the.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I don't remember the characters.
All right. Well, I guess we might go back. We might cover a couple of these quickly. We don't want to.
Go ahead. You can talk about them. I don't care.
We don't want to dwell on these. Maybe episode 3 is Bucky Barnes and Red Guardian. Red Guardian is played by David Harbour in the movie series. Does he do the voice?
He does. And I got to say, I did not realize it was him doing the voice because it's a younger version of Red Guardian. So I figured they recast it for the younger version. That was David Harbour. I was
and the Russian accent.
I had to Google it because I didn't think it sounded.
You went away from the mic, AJ. You could barely. There we go. I guess they could barely hear you.
Yeah, I don't hear AJ.
You don't hear me?
Oh, now you're back.
You're back. Now we hear you.
Back.
I didn't go anywhere.
You got very quiet when you said it was a younger version of the character. You weren't sure if David Harbour would do it. Then it was his voice for sure. And Sebastian Stan did Bucky, right?
Yeah.
They were both in it, which is great. I didn't love this episode. I mean, it's a buddy movie. It's like a road trip buddy movie. It's a
kind of a. I felt like it was kind of a cross between like a buddy cop movie and Thelma and Louise.
Well, I mean, at the end they were going off the cliff, holding their hands, just like Thelma.
But even before that scene, I felt I got like Thelma and Louise vibes from it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little too in the early parts of it were a little too comedic for me because they made Red Guardian to be like a total jokey communist buffoon, which I mean he is a little bit of that in the film, but he's a little more serious, right? And he was really a little too comedic for me. And then Bucky, of course, is like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm stuck with this guy. And there's a very convoluted storyline going on until they end up on this road trip together. And then it starts to get better, I think. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I don't know.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay, right? It was just okay. It wasn't like great. And I think the Watcher shows up in this one, right?
Well, he shows up in all of them.
Well, I mean, but I think he's starting to. This is where the Watcher is starting to like maybe put his thumb on the scale. I forget what he does, but I think he.
I don't think he did anything in this. I think he just watched this one.
He just watched. Yeah, and I thought this was. I can't say for sure, but I felt like this was a longer episode. Like I felt like it went on for a long time, and I was like, if you cut 10 minutes out of this, it would have been better. But maybe that's
I think it's about the same length as everything else. I feel like it just felt like it went on forever.
I was like, if they cut out like 20% of Red Guardian's stupid dialogue, it could have been a tighter storyline, and they just made him a little too jokey. I guess I don't like the Marvel movies have good. Most of them have a good level of comedy. Like that one Thor movie went too far, but they Love and Thunder. But they do have this comedic element that usually is kind of restrained and used at the right place and the right time, particularly in the earlier films. And I think that in some of these, it went a little too far.
I agree.
All right. So the next one, episode 4, was the movie where the one where Darcy marries Howard the Duck, which Seth Green and Kat Dennings both did the voices in this.
Yeah.
They are pregnant. Not really. I'm not sure who. It's a huge egg. The egg is gigantic. The egg is like. It is. Jamie, in Willy Wonka where they get that big golden egg, it's like that big. It's like as big as like a watermelon. I don't know if Howard or Darcy laid this egg, but it is a big ass egg that they are. Yeah,
I didn't question how that worked.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little too bizarre for me, I think.
Maybe it was tiny when it came out and now it's big. And they get invited on a cruise. They go on this intergalactic cruise, but it is all the cruise is a ruse because the the Goldblum character, the Jeff Goldblum character from the movie,
Master
of the planet or wherever that Thor was trapped that Thor and Hulk
that movie. I was was in. I know
who you mean.
He's trying to steal the egg to sell it to some people who want to cook it and eat it because it's a delicacy. And so the whole thing is about like saving the egg. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I like Kat Dennings in these movies and in this show. I I know Howard the Duck is a longtime Marvel character. I cannot really get behind a talking duck, much less married to a human woman. I had a hard time with that.
Like, Howard the Duck is the first talking duck you've seen.
Donald Duck married another duck. Daffy Duck did not. I mean, AJ, you read the comics. Do you read Howard the Duck?
No, I don't read Howard the Duck.
So there you go.
Also, they made a movie in the 80s that totally bombed, the Howard the Duck movie, right?
I liked the Howard the Duck movie in the 80s. It was fun.
That's fair. You're entitled to like it.
It was fun.
I mean, this was kind of fun. I mean, Howard the Duck was fun. Darcy was fun. They go on. I didn't download a lot of pictures. They go on this like thing to try to get their egg back. Team Fury shows up in this, right?
Yeah.
Which was kind of awesome that Nick Fury shows up to assist with this situation. There's Agent Coulson with him, and the Scree guys are there. And that was pretty cool. But it wasn't my favorite. It's like another kind of standalone-y kind of episode that I didn't really
see. And that's what I liked about it was I like the ones that are more standalone. Yeah. And that's the point of What If. And like this was just for me, this was a fun episode.
I guess I just think they ran out of interesting what ifs and they're getting a little crazy with the what ifs, right?
But that's the thing. You can make up anything.
Yeah.
It's what if. You can literally make up anything. And some of the stuff they came up with, it was like, heh. But like I said, I thought this was just fun.
Some of them sort of make more sense that one character ran into the other. I mean, could Darcy and Howard run into each other? Yes. Just because we haven't seen their particular storylines intersect in the movies doesn't mean that. I mean, Darcy's pretty deep into S.H.I.E.L.D. and whatever, right? I mean, not deep into it, but she knows all the players and whatever, and it could happen. It could happen. And it's standalone. Yeah, I kind of like that. I guess I just kind of like some of the other ones that are a little more. And Blue Loki is in this one, right?
Yeah. His natural form.
At his natural form as an ice giant. And he has become the ruler of everything, right?
Yeah. Well, no, his dad's still the ruler. He was, what the hell was he making? He was like creating like a ski lodge or something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, he was creating like a, I forget what he was doing. I mean, because he was more almost like a cameo. Like he wasn't like he showed up and that was great, right?
They had an episode of Loki. It would have been better.
No, there was not a total Loki episode. Although I gotta say, I wanted to talk to you guys. What was I watching this week that I felt had a big like? Oh, Jamie, it's Severance. I'll tell you about Severance. I felt like Severance has a real like Loki vibe where he works at the Time Authority, the TVA. I feel like they have a real TVA.
Yeah, they kind of do.
Kind of a vibe.
Yeah, now that you said that, they kind of do.
Severance, right?
Yep.
But I don't really know like what Loki's all up to in this. I can't even remember because I watched the episode and it's like kind of cool.
Yeah, he was comedic. He was comedic.
Well, he always is.
He wasn't really. Yeah, I mean, but and there's like everybody, like Thanos is there trying to get the egg, and
oh, you know what happens after Yondu returns the egg?
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's right. He stole it.
And Yondu gets killed, and what happens is I think Howard and Darcy go to Loki seeking like asylum. They want like him to protect them, right? But everybody is like, after the egg and they have to flee or whatever. So,
yeah, like all the big bads show up going for the egg.
Yeah, like
and then the egg, and then the
Thanos is after it, like,
and then the egg itself ends up saving the day.
People that I don't even think are Marvel people, like Zeus shows up after the egg, right? I'm like, Zeus are you
is
part
Marvel.
of this? What? Zeus is in Marvel? Oh yeah,
Zeus was in Zeus was in Love and Thunder.
Yeah, Zeus is in Love and Thunder. That's right. Zeus is in Love and Thunder. You're right. Yeah. So, I mean, what's important here is that at the end, the egg hatches, and it's like a human-duck hybrid.
Ew.
And they name it Birdie. So I want to ask you, AJ, you don't read Howard the Duck, but do you know if this...
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's a little bit much for me. I don't know about that.
Okay. I mean, this was a great episode because pretty much everybody did their voice. Like Tom Hiddleston was in it. Sam Jackson was in it. Clark Gregg was in it. Michael Rooker was in it. Like everyone, Josh Brolin, like everyone does their voice in this episode.
That's awesome.
Chris Hemsworth. It was pretty, I don't know if everyone does it, but a lot of people came back and did their voice in this, which was cool.
Yeah. Before you go on to the other episode, I was going to ask if you, because Fletcher's asking, I haven't seen it yet, the trailer, but there's a new George R.R. Martin movie.
What?
Batista. Yeah, I know he'd posted about it, but I haven't watched the trailer yet. It's called In the Lost Lands.
No, In the Lost Lands.
So no, we haven't seen it yet. I guess is the quick answer to that. We'll have to go watch the trailer.
No, I just Googled it, and it's one of his earlier fantasy stories before A Song of Ice and Fire. And Mila Jovovich is also in it. It's called In the Lost Lands. He wrote it in 1982. No, I haven't seen the trailer. Oh my God. As soon as the show ends, I'm going to look up that trailer. I don't know when it's coming out, but I would go see it, right? It's coming out in 2025, they say.
Yeah.
I wish George R.R. Martin would focus on other things like
whatever.
It's not going to happen. I know.
Yeah, not going to happen, Karen.
I know. Thanks for bringing that up. That was Fletcher brought it up, right? I'm definitely going to look for that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go. It looks good from what I can see with it muted because I put it on our movie database so I can see the trailer as it's playing. Winter ain't coming, Karen.
Well, I want winter to come. Winter's never coming again for any of us, probably.
It will never be winter again.
It will never be winter again.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So
the next episode.
Sorry, back
to episode is 305, which is
what if the emergence destroyed the Earth?
Yeah. So this was kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, they brought the Celestials back again.
Well, the Celestials are the worst, but okay. Not a fan of the Celestials. I mean, this episode brings back Riri, who I think is not that well known a character, but this is a case where, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ. This is a case where there's been sort of like a, it's like another alternate kind. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. In this version, the Eternals did not achieve what they were trying to do, and the world was taken over by the Iron Federation, and that guy with Jake Gyllenhaal character is now the king of the world.
Right? Well, I mean, the Eternals didn't stop the Celestial from being born. Yes. Which is what cracked the Earth apart.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, because I had totally forgotten that, because that movie is so terrible I can't really follow it through to this. So this thing called the Iron Federation now runs the world. And what's his name? Mephisto? What's that guy's name? Mephisto? What's his name?
Who?
Who's the head of the world, right? Isn't this the one where he's the... Or am I wrong?
Oh, no, that was... okay, yeah, Quentin Beck. That's Mysterio.
Mysterio, that's his name. I want to say Mephisto. That's a different...
I was like, Mephisto, it definitely wasn't Mephisto.
No, it's Mysterio now is like running the world. And Riri is an Ironheart, and she, the Watcher's like she's the last person that can like save the world. But every time she tries, she fails. He watches her like over and over again fail, right? Isn't that what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's really kind of like it's very dark. It's really not It's not funny. It's a big switch from some of the things we've seen in the first 4 episodes.
Yeah, actually, it was the thing in the beginning when Sharon Carter turns her in, double crosses.
Yeah, Sharon Carter really, was a character that you liked when you first saw her, and then she quickly now she's a villain, right?
Well, last time we saw her, she was the power broker, and
yep. Yeah, she was the power broker.
Soldier.
Now she is gonna turn in Riri, right?
Yep.
So
this was just basically a story of a ragtag bunch of rebels trying to get to Quentin Beck to stop him and his illusions.
Yeah. And I don't love him as a villain. He's all right, but he's not really great, right?
Yeah, Quentin Beck has never been considered a mastermind of anything. But then again, it's what if, so.
Yeah. And I think so Mysterio took over Stark Industries, right? Which is what helped him to to control the world, right? And so we get this new group of people. Do I have a picture of them? I don't have a picture of this. I don't know why I didn't download a picture of sort of the group that gets together, but
the only one I'm sure who else was in it. I know Valkyrie was in it.
Valkyrie, Wong, and Okoye come.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'm not sure how many of them did their voice. I don't know if any of them did their voice. I know
Okoye did. Valkyrie did. Wong was somebody new.
Yeah. So they come to her and they're like, you need to help us because really the big bad guy in this is, okay, this is not White Vision. This is when she becomes White Vision. But White Vision is really the problem in this.
Well, she kills White Vision.
Well, because Mysterio has used White Vision as his sort of security force, right? And right? Isn't White Vision
basically
sort of been co-opted by Mysterio? And Riri is it's actually a pretty good scene, I think, where she's trying to use all the computers and to try to get control of Vision's suit. And there's this moment where you think it's not going to work. At the last second, she gets control of it, and then it comes all over, and she takes it over, and she kind of becomes the White Vision, right? It's kind of cool, I think. I mean, I don't know how this goes with if she's going to have a show coming out. She's not going to be the White Vision, right?
Well, no. I mean, it's again, it's what if. It's a completely alternate.
Yeah. So it was, it was pretty. I didn't love this, but I didn't hate it, right? And then, of course, the Watcher starts to intervene again, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he intervenes. She's supposed to die here, and he intervenes, and she actually wins.
Because he says she dies every single time I watch this, and I can't let her die anymore. And he puts his finger on the scale once again. Not that he can't let her die, but that he can't let this universe go on this way, right?
Yeah.
And we get a little strange in this, right?
When do we get? Did I blink?
Is this a wrong picture? Do I have a wrong picture in here? I thought this was episode 5, but I could be wrong that this didn't happen there.
That didn't happen at all.
Strange pops up in numerous episodes.
The only time I remember seeing Strange is the finale. I feel like that's a picture from last season.
No way, really? All right, sorry I stuck it in there. I mean, we do okay, so the way it ends, I guess, is when the Watcher sort of breaks his oath to be impartial. Okay. And he actually encourages Riri, right? He's like, come on, get up and fight. And, she ends up winning.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't download the picture, but this is the episode where there's a giant Avenger symbol in the sky, right? Riri, once she gets all the power, she flies up there and she puts a big A in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah, she did that.
Yeah. So again, fine, but not the greatest. Then we had this great episode that we already talked about, episode 6, which was fantastic.
And then 7 is what if the Watcher disappeared?
Which I feel like, didn't we even have that happen in the past? The Watcher disappeared. They can call it that, but this is the girl power episode.
Yeah.
So
I gotta tell you. So
looks like Pocahontas and Jem. Who are they supposed to be?
Okay, so the one you think is hold on. So the one you're saying looks like Jem. That's Birdie.
She's the child of Howard the Duck and Darcy, who is now grown up, and she has like powers, including that her wrists like can bend backwards because her arms are kind of like wings. So she only has like she's voiced by Natasha Lyonne, who is great, but also has such a distinctive voice that you know it's her immediately, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Jamie,
it's kind of confusing. Like they shouldn't have that kind of through line. Like if they're supposed to be separate what ifs, like why is she even in there? Because the other one was like,
and I'll explain that because Agent Carter since season 1 has been bouncing around between all these what ifs, and they've made like this team going around. Yeah, I agree. It's just I hate that they did this.
Yeah, because that's Storm, right?
And you saw Jamie, you saw last season, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Okay, well, the Native American woman, that's Kahori.
Her name is Kahori. She's an original character that was only in What If. She's never been in anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I tell you what, my happiest moment about this episode, though, the part that I loved the most was when it looked like Thor was coming, and I was like, "That's not Thor." I was like, "Something's different." At first, I thought it was going to be Jane, and then as she got closer, I was like, "That's fucking Storm." I was like, "Let's go." Right? I was like, "Let's go."
How is that? That Storm is the new Thor. That's totally only in What If, right? Is that in the comics?
Yes. No, it's What If.
Yeah, I don't think they've mixed X-Men in What If before, have they? Or am I misremembering?
No, it's the first time.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Well,
and the best part, and here's the kicker: the showrunner that did What If this season is the new showrunner for X-Men '97.
Well, so there were a couple of shout outs. So when Storm appears like as Thor and she has the hammer, which is what's it called? Mjolnir? I can't say the word.
Mjolnir.
They played the X-Men '97 music.
Yeah.
I think, Jamie, one reason they haven't done it is because they didn't have the rights to the Marvel.
Yeah, they
just
the
X-Men, right?
All right.
They just got it back. So.
Yeah. But no, there is a story, a comic story of what if Storm was Thor.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
I kind of like when she flies up in the sky. This is from the next episode, actually, but look how awesome she is. When she flies up in the sky and she says, "I used to harness the power of nature. Now I am nature."
Yeah.
That's great. That's the last episode, but she's pretty great. When I was first watching this, I was like, what the hell is with Storm? That's not Storm. What's going on, right? And it was pretty awesome. And I always love Agent Carter, even when they make her a little cuckoo like they have in these last couple episodes. I love Agent Carter, right? I like Kahor. I like all these characters. I think these 4 women. They come to see Nova Prime in this episode, right?
Yeah.
Which is the second time this week that we saw a 7 of 9 type eye thing. But Karen Gillan didn't come back, right? Somebody else did the voice in this, I think.
Really? I thought that sounded like Karen Gillan.
Was it? I'm not sure.
Do you remember? She changes her voice drastically for Nebula.
She does. She's a really good voice person.
That's her, according to Internet Movie Database.
I am scooping through some stuff here also to see if she's in it. If she came back and did her voice.
I said it says she did.
Yeah.
She did?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I like, when she became Nova Prime last season, I think, not season 1, and season 2, I think she was in
last season.
Prime. Yeah. I like her as a character. I cropped out. You can see a little bit on the right. You can see that is the head of Groot. And on the left, you can see is the head of Michael, the guy that's made out of rocks. They were in it. I cropped them out a little bit. A highlight of this episode also was the foosball board, I thought, right? Which actually,
that was funny.
It actually had a ton of like different Marvel characters as foosball people, right? Which was kind of cool. And
the fun thing is that there was a lot that we haven't even seen yet. Like there was a couple Fantastic Four that they focused on, and
yeah, I mean, I think there's like
actually in your picture there, actually that's an Invisible Woman.
Oh, here on the right, like
yeah,
next to what's his name? Hugh Jackman in the yellow.
No, the one in the blue shirt with the 4.
Red, in the blue, all the way on the left, she's got a 4 in her shirt. Yeah. And as you watch the scene, I mean, there are a bunch of like people who broke it down and watched it on YouTube, and you can look it up and make sure you understand who they are. Probably there are a bunch of Easter eggs in here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, eventually where this episode goes, and now we're going to have a through line for 7 and 8, which is this guy is called Infinity Ultron, right? This is like the Ultron who got all of the Infinity Stones, and he destroyed
in the first season.
Right? What?
From the first season.
From the first season, yes. Because he says later, I believed peace, to achieve peace, that means the absence of conflict. But what I learned is that like all living things are always in conflict, and it's kind of healthy, and like I was wrong. And by the way, I've been here by myself for eons, and it's really boring.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I realized I shouldn't have done that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So the Infinity Ultron, they have to go like, Peggy is sort of driving this whole thing. They got to go find the Infinity Ultron. They've got to like change all this or whatever. Meanwhile, the Watchers are starting to get antsy, right? Like the other Watchers, which are called, I mean, the main guy's called the Eminence, but there's a couple more, right? And they're like, what is wrong with you, Watcher? Uatu. And so we get into like a big battle. Which I didn't really download pictures of it, but episode 8 is mostly the big battle, right?
Yeah, I mean the fight was great. The story, the storyline itself was kind of like, yeah. I mean, it got very simplified. At the end, Uatu after Peggy sacrifices herself, and I don't know what ended up happening to her, but somehow she got them to Strange's universe, where he is all, he's like, he is the universe and can control pretty much everything. Ooh, you have the picture of it.
I do, yeah.
And somehow we get to this point where after that, the Eminence and Uatu are talking, and Uatu's like, you taught me a lot. Maybe I could teach you something now. And the Eminence is like, maybe you can. And I was just like, really? Like, that's the dialogue?
Yeah, I mean, in this episode, so I didn't download the picture because I didn't really care that much, but we see Uatu in the past when he was like a little baby Watcher, and he like swears his allegiance. Well, he's like a grown man, but he's like, whatever his job was, the Watcher, he's wearing a toga, and they're like, kneel down, you can be a Watcher now, and you have to be totally impartial, and you gotta like,
and he's like, oh, you're gonna be the greatest Watcher ever.
Yeah. And the Eminence is like, I've been watching you for a long time. I know you're my guy, right? And then it's a flashback, and then we get back to Uatu, who we know who's like been putting his finger on the scale for like a long time, right? I mean, he's broken that promise many times. And the other Watchers, the Eminence and his cronies, are like, Peggy Carter is your giant monster. Like, Watcher, like Uatu, why are you always helping Peggy Carter? What is with that, right? And so the Watchers, they capture her and they grab her out of whatever's going on in this episode with her and her. There's a big fight and the Watchers grab her and these guys find like a broken shield and they're like, oh my God, Peggy's shield is broken. They killed her. What's going on? I hate the Watchers now. Kind of, right? Is that oversimplifying it a little bit? But, and so they're like, our only chance is Doctor Strange because Doctor Strange has his own universe where he's the ultimate power. Right? Like, isn't that right? Like, he's so powerful, like, he can overcome the Watchers. I don't know if he will, but he could, right? So there's like all this giant fighting, and the fighting was kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. The fights were great. It was just the ending was kind of.
I did like the Super Peggy. I mean, I don't know that I love like this idea of a Super Peggy.
So
I
didn't either.
It looks so good.
Artie after it was over, Artie was like, really? He's like Peggy should not. He was, even as a Watcher, Peggy should not have been able to take out 3 Watchers.
Yeah.
You know, while they were like basically dismantling any existence of her at all. And I said, but Artie, you're not thinking about the most important power that she has of all, her willpower.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, that was
like really what happened.
It was.
I remember that, AJ. That what she says is, "I am not going to lose any more friends today." And then she like flies up into the sky as this like super powered, crazy, I don't know what she is, her cosmic being or whatever.
Well, she's a Watcher now. They're all Watchers now because they took the oath.
Oh, yeah, they all became Watchers, which was kind of dumb also, right?
Yeah.
And so then she is going to go and like kill the Eminence. And then she brings everybody over to the Strange universe, right? And they're like, oh, Dr. Strange, can we come be in your universe now or whatever, right? Or they're like, they go to Strange and and so the Watchers are like, we don't care. We're going to fight you. And they're like, wait, we have no power. Dr. Strange took away our power. Wah, 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 right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But then she dies, right? Or is she dead?
Well, she died in the process of getting them there.
Like,
it's not, I mean, that's the assumption.
Wait, are you saying that killed her? How could that kill a person? What?
I don't know. I didn't write it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, that like she expended all of her entire being, I think, to try to like get there, right?
Yeah, I mean, she flew into the spinning Watchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I saw on the screen.
No, I get it. And then there's this crazy ass final scene, which I didn't even try to deal with when they're in the Strange universe. And there's all these little Easter eggs of all these little crazy, like variations of Marvel heroes.
Oh, you're talking about the closing monologue?
The closing monologue, where the
that was just fun.
There's a 6-armed Spider-Man. There's like Gamora in a wedding dress in that, right? There's all kinds of. There's like
a lot of those Easter. Yeah, a lot of those are actual what ifs from the comics that they just kind of like.
Oh, is that where they came from? Because that comic series is pretty well.
Well, yeah, I mean the What If comic series has been around since the late 70s.
All right. So those are all different kind of what if Easter eggs for that's cool.
Yeah.
So this is the last season. It's over now. It ended with the Watcher kind of being like, we can't just watch, we have to act. Like just watching was not morally accepted. He doesn't say this, but I feel like the message was like just watching is not morally what they should be doing and that you need to play a part. I think, right? Is that the best I was supposed to get from it?
I don't know. I was too busy looking at all the different, as opposed to listening to him. But he does say to the Eminence, he's like, my interfering created new alternate realities that we can now watch, which is a good point.
Which I guess is their job, so they should want to have more things to watch, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have this big message at the end also about like friendship being like an important force in the universe and relationships and this and that. And, how the Watchers were, I guess, because the Watchers were so isolated and like connections are important, kind of blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
I think that's where this went.
I mean, as an action episode, it was pretty great. As far as the storyline,
yeah, the action was good, right? That was great. I mean, I liked seeing all these like powerful women fly around. It kind of didn't make sense if they came, like it never made sense why the four of them were working together. Like,
well, we know Peggy and Kahori because of last season.
Yeah, but like Storm and Birdie, kind of
why not?
And whatever. Like it doesn't always make sense, but it's what if.
Well, they joined the crew off screen.
You know how I feel about things that happen off screen, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I listened to.
I mean, it was fine. This has been a fine show for 3 seasons. I think, Jamie, it's kind of fun watching some of it if you want to go back and watch it. I think it is the right time to end this show. I don't think there's a lot of
because I agree. I think it's the right time to end the show because they are not doing a good job with what it is.
I know. I was going to say it's such a cool idea. I think they just aren't utilizing it very well.
No, they're trying. They're trying. It's like they don't realize not everything has to be connected. That is the point of What If.
Yeah,
I think you're right. When they started to serialize it, I get why it might have made sense to have the Watcher be a little bit of a through line through all of this. But when
it's supposed to be an anthology.
I think sometimes they do it to get people to watch it through to the end, and that's sometimes a mistake.
I know, but I like anthologies can be really good if you do it well, right?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I think that's sometimes.
I mean, Twilight Zone was a huge hit, and not one episode connected.
Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, a lot of anthology type shows could be. I mean, even something wasn't Altered Carbon an anthology, or not? I never watched it.
No,
it wasn't an anthology. It was all connected.
It was a different actor the second time, but which was built into the story.
Another recent show that was an anthology that was creepy, like modern anthology series. It'll come to me in a second, but an anthology. Also like the old like Alfred
kind of is, but I haven't watched it all yet, so I don't know.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Is that what you're
I love that show. Right?
Yeah.
It's a great anthology by a master of horror. And some of it holds up, some of it doesn't, but it didn't have to always be like a thing, right?
I think part of the reason, I think the ratings definitely dipped after season 2. So I think they kind of knew. But I think the other reason they're ending it is because the multiverse will be coming to a close in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Jamie, the show I'm thinking of is Black Mirror.
Oh yeah, Black Mirror.
Yeah. Also Channel Zero, which I didn't like.
Channel Zero was bizarre.
Well, I didn't like that tooth monster, and I could never watch it again.
It was creepy.
But a good anthology. Yeah, but AJ, you're saying that the multiverse is coming to an end. That's correct, right? Like Marvel is gonna.
Granted, it's not gonna be. I don't think it. What was it? 2027, I think, is Secret Wars,
and that'll be the end of it. And they're going to move on to like Fantastic Four and some other new kind of stuff.
Well, Fantastic Four will happen before that.
Yeah, but they're going to be standalone, I hope.
Well, from what I understand, they're coming from another universe.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of this multiverse BS. My God.
Well, I kind of get why the Fantastic Four are going to be in a different universe, because otherwise, where the hell have they been this whole time?
Well, yeah, Earth came under attack multiple times. Where were you guys?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like there was other ways they could have explained it, but
that way works.
They chose
like they explained it with Captain Marvel. She was off planet. She's like, you guys are one planet, and there's a lot of planets that have shit going on, right?
Yeah.
But
so they've chosen to do like some kind of retro. I don't know what they're doing. We'll find out what happens.
All right. Well, we're at almost 2 hours, so I guess it's time to wrap it up, right?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And just a reminder, Saturday at 8 p.m. we have, and I'll get the link. I always forget to have the link ready after I start talking, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have our Severance watch for episode 3 in Discord, which I'm posting a link now. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern is Karen and I. We do our Severance live stream. And,
I know nobody wants to miss me and Jamie talking about what we think about our recent Severance watch.
Yes. Well, people seem to like it. It's been doing good. So yeah, that's Saturday. And then Sunday is, of course, the From live stream at 11 and the rewatch is at 10. And we're going to finish out the season on that. And then we may pause the From rewatch to do Yellow Jackets. We're kind of talking about it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, because we did a
good idea, actually.
Yeah, at least until it's closer to, I think, the series coming back, because there's not as many people. And I mean, like, I love doing it, but we can only do so many, and we're already doing too much. So if we're going to add Yellow Jackets, we got to subtract something. So
okay.
We'll see
I don't know how you have time for anything else.
Yeah, I don't know how I have time to do what I do. That's why I get no sleep.
Okay. But anyway, next Tuesday here on Phantom Access, we're going to talk about Paradise, right?
Yeah.
And what else we got? What else is good going on? I mean,
I'm trying to think what starts.
Nothing that I'm aware of.
I was going to say, I think you guys, some stuff is back. Like, I think Mythic Quest is back, but I don't think you guys watched that.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some different things. We'll have to.
All right. Well, please, everyone join us to watch Paradise together, and maybe we will each watch some other things and come back with some surprises.
Yeah, and I think if you like this, like From and all that, if you like mystery stuff, I think you'll like Paradise. I mean, it's not like Puzzle Box like From, but it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Well, as AJ pointed out, it has a great cast, and it also, I can't tell what it's about, but it's some bunch of supernatural kind of stuff going on, right? So it's right up our alley.
Yeah, I think it's up our alley, but I'm not going to tell you what. You have to watch it.
The only thing I know of coming up, which isn't for about a month and a half, Wheel of Time.
Okay, and obviously Yellow Jackets.
Oh, the Wheel of Time.
And Last of Us is coming in April is the other thing that's coming too.
What's
April, man. We got a long
The Last of Us, and a trailer came out and stuff. But join us in Discord, chat with us. Let us know what else you want to see too. Watch party wise or us talking about, and
All right, join us next
Tuesday. God, Karen, in 83 days is Andor.
Well, I think, AJ, that we're going to watch Andor because we're 2 years in and we got to watch it through to the end.
How are we 2 years in? It's only been one season.
All right, we're 1 year. It felt like 2 years. It was 1 year, but it felt like 2 years. But, I keep coming back to AJ how much you and I loved the B story.
I was just going to say, I want to see what the Empire's up to.
I was going to say, I suppose it doesn't. It's not worth. It sounds like it's not worth me starting if I haven't, though.
Oh, Jamie, you should watch it because AJ and I love the bureaucratic nonsense going on at the Empire is hilarious. We love it. We love all this like stupid, like people filling out forms and having a fight with their boss, and all that is so great. It's like any company. It's so good. Right? AJ and I love that. You've heard it. We love that part so much more than like, we're like, oh, Cassian Andor's in prison. Who cares? What's going on in the office?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think I'll watch it because I'd like to see like if that guy who's in love with his boss, what happens with like he's like a stalker, right? And also the whole Mon Mothma thing is kind of interesting, also, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Anything without Andor.
What?
Anything without Andor.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll rewatch it and see if I can feel a little bit better about it. But if you don't want to cover it, fine. But you're going to have to listen to me every week talk about the bureaucracy of the Empire.
All righty, guys.
All right, you guys.
All right.
I'm gonna
thank you, everybody, for listening to us babble once again.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And I will see you Saturday.
All right. See you Saturday, Jamie.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All
Good
right.
night.